Hey guys, it's Charlotte. For our mat class today, I am going to have us go up against the wall for some exercises. So just for the sake of viewing, I'm going to use this as my wall to start with, and then I'm going to use this as my wall behind me to finish with, okay? So for you guys at home, you'll be against the wall, then you can always move it, okay? And I'll be going through a lot of different options we can always do against the wall, okay? All right, so let's get started. We're going to lie all the way flat down. Also, if we need, we're going to use a block during this, okay? Or like a pillow, some kind of a towel, something to just prop up, okay? So, but we'll talk about that later. All right, so here we go. We're going to start lying down. The feet are going to be going up against the wall right here. And I want you to either be a little bit more than 90 degrees, but not less than 90 degrees, okay? So the further away we are, the harder it's going to be, okay? So if we have our legs straight up there, it's gonna be a little bit harder, okay? So we're just gonna start with some warm-up exercises, okay? So just to start, we're going to reach our fingertips up to the ceiling. I want you to create resistance between your hands. So just like we're trying to hold something between our hands, and we're just going to lift our arms up and overhead. Inhale. Exhale, pull the arms back down. And as we pull them down, I want you to curl up, look into the belly button. Breathe right here. Deep breath in. Long, full, and complete exhale. Lower the head. Lift the arms. Again, deep breath in. Exhale, curl into the chest. I want that full and complete long exhale right here. Knitting the ribs in, dropping that belly button down to our spine. Maintain that neutral spine. Try to not tuck that tailbone in, okay? So really maintain the length of your sits bones down there. Lowering down, reach the head, the hands up and over. Exhaling, curling to the chest. Stay right there, breathe, exhale. Now another thing I should point out right here, my sits bones, knees, and ankles are all in line, so I don't have them all the way together. We keep them apart to maintain that good alignment. Lower back down. Two more like this, up and over, inhale. Exhale. And lowering back down again, last time. Inhale, keep those shoulder blades down. Make sure that your ribs stay down versus splayed open up to the ceiling as we reach those arms overhead. Exhale, curling to the chest, looking up into that belly button, reach those fingertips forward. Lower all the way back and down again. Lower your hands all the way down to the mat. And I want you to keep your palms down, your triceps down, your collarbones and your chest really wide and open, okay? Not overly trying to press down so that we pop our chest open, but just kind of nicely open and maintaining that nice posture. We're going to draw your right knee into tabletop, so straight into the chest. I want you to lengthen the leg up to the ceiling, lower the foot down, set it on the wall. Same thing with the right, or sorry, the left, excuse me. Pull it into your chest, extend it up to the ceiling, stretch that leg up there, lower it back down onto the wall. Keep alternating sides. One knee in, extend it up, lower it down. One knee in, extend, and lower. Now again, the further away we are, the more challenging it's gonna be, but this is just for our warm-up, okay? So this doesn't need to be really, really hard to start with. One more time. And extend that foot straight down there onto the wall. My fingertips are gonna go back up to the ceiling again. I keep those shoulder blades actively gliding down my back. As I exhale, I'm curled up looking into that belly button, and you start pumping your arms. Deep breath all the way in. Long, full, and complete exhale. Fast, big pumps right here, you guys. Deep breath, long inhale, long exhale. Keep that gaze looking straight into your belly button versus up to the ceiling. Now, if we want to make this more challenging, we can hover those legs off of that wall just about an inch or so. If you're doing that, your heels are together, your toes are apart. If you want to keep them on the wall, though, that's totally fine, okay? We keep breathing, we keep on pumping. If your head needs a break, we can always lower it down to the mat, or we can use that nice little block that we got from the beginning. Keep pumping, keep breathing. One more deep breath, all the way in. You do a long, full, and complete exhale, and you rest all the way down. We lift those arms up to the ceiling. And I want you to put your feet flat down onto the ground. The toes can be up against the wall down there. We're curling up, looking into the belly button. The hands are going to go down next to my hips, and we're going to round to lift all the way up there, okay? I do want you to put your hands back behind you onto the mat. You're going to lift your bottom off the mat to move ourselves back. I now want you to end up with your feet up against the wall, okay? It's not important that we get the heels all the way up there. I just want your toes kind of grounding into it. Your heels should try to be a little bit closer. The closer they are, the nicer this is going to be, okay? So the fingertips are going to come out in front. Again, I want you to create resistance between your hands right here. Lift up really tall and round back. Initiate by tilting that pelvis back, rounding all the way down to the mat. Arms reach up and overhead. Exhale, curl chin to chest, round to lift all the way back and up again. So the closer we are to the wall, these toes are going to kind of depart it less if we're a little bit closer to the wall. We stretch forward. Now I personally like to stack up tall when I go back just to kind of reset everything, and then rounding back from that C curve. Remember, we're in a small C curve, we're not kind of sinking down right here. All the way down. Use your breath, use the exhale to round and lift you to come all the way back up again. Rounding forward, stacking up tall, then rounding down. Now my heels remain together, my inner thighs remain zipped up and tight right here, in order to help me lift up. We're just gonna go through one more. Use your breath, use the exhale to round and lift you to come all the way up. Now my feet are gonna go up against the wall. I'm going to have a little pole right here, so I'm gonna go around them. And I want your feet now all the way up against the wall, okay? So if we have really tight hamstrings, the knees can bend. Ideally, they are all the way straight down, okay? So if it also feels more comfortable for you to have them bent, go ahead and have them bent, okay? The feet are going to go all the way straight up, and I'm just gonna start with actually my hands all the way behind my head right here, okay? And all I'm going to do is just start twisting, exhale, side to side, okay? So every time you twist, I want you to exhale, back to center. Okay, now as we keep twisting, I want you to just pause once you twist over to the right here. What's going to want to happen is that my left heel is driven further into the wall right now than my right side, okay? So I want us to try to keep both heels evenly and both toes, of course, evenly into that wall as we do this, so that we're not moving from our hips, we're not hiking from our hips, okay? So I want you to keep moving through that. We're trying to twist side to side. As we twist, we're kind of twisting where those shoulder blades are in our thoracic spine area, so we're just getting that nice stretch. It should feel nice. We don't get a ton of range of motion and a ton of twisting right there just throughout our daily lives. So that should feel so good. Exhale. Good, one more time. Over to the left. And back to center, good. Now we can also add our saw, and right, this should be our saw right here. We're going to twist over to our right, and now you spine stretch forward, you reach, reach, reach. You stack up tall, you untwist, you twist the other way. And again, we're reaching, reaching, reaching. Notice how my shoulder blades are actively down my back. They're not up towards my ears. Just a couple more to each way. Now remember what we just did right there with the feet. We're not kind of allowing one side of our heel to go further into that wall than the other side. Exhale forward and back up. My feet are going to come back together up against the wall. And actually, let's go a little bit in closer so we don't have to scoot down further when we're on the mat. That mat is usually sticky down there. And we're just going to lie back down onto our backs. Lying back down, my feet are going to go back up against the wall. And now again, the further in we are, the nicer this is going to be. If the knees are bent, this is going to be a little bit nicer. Even if the feet are up further on the wall, again, it's going to be a little bit nicer. Okay, so we can scoot back to make it a bit more challenging. We're going to go into our ab series first, okay? So again, this is gonna be modified because we are against the wall. It just changes it up a little bit, okay? So we're going to start by pulling that left knee in towards our chest. Again, before I begin, sits bone, ankle, knee are all in alignment. We're not pulling too far into the center line. We're also not allowing that leg to go too far out to the other side also. So we're curled up, looking into our belly button. My hands are on my ankle and my shin, and now I switch legs. Now the way I'm doing it right now is a little bit nicer, okay? If we want to make it a little bit harder, we switch at the same time. Now remember to stay curled up, stay lengthened in our body. Keep on going, keep on breathing for 3, 2, 1. Now I stay curled up right here. Both knees are going to come into my chest, heels together, toes apart. Arms and legs both go long in opposition. We can tap those toes to that wall. Exhale, circle the arms around, pull the knees into the chest. Exhale. Inhale. 2 more. We're going to rest down for just 1 second, and we're actually going to do that guy again, but we're going to break it into a half exercise, okay? So his legs are going to go out there in space. They're going to stay up against the wall out there, okay? So we're curled up looking into the belly button. Those legs are going to go straight. My toes down here are onto the wall, okay? The arms go straight. I'm going to send them right next to my ears. Exhale, circle those arms around, hover them over the thighs. Again, pull them straight next to your ears. Exhale all the way around. Out. Reach those fingertips, hover them over the thighs, reach a little bit more. 2 more. Out. Try to get your shoulder blades off the mat. Try to keep them off the mat right here. Exhale. And we rest down for a second with that head. Now remember, if we need any extra assistance with that neck, we have that block with us, or that pillow, or that ball, okay? Our right leg is going to go straight up to the ceiling. My hands are both going to clasp around the calf or all the way to that ankle if we can reach it, if we have the flexibility. Okay, you're going to pulse twice on that leg. 1, 2, exhale, switch. Now the way that I'm scissoring my legs right now against this is the more challenging way, okay? If we want to make it a little bit nicer, you just lower the leg down, you pick up the other leg, okay? Pulse, pulse, lower, lift, pulse, pulse, lower, lift. 2 more. Last one. Lower the head. Hands are actually going to go behind the head now also. The further away from the wall now we are for this next one, the more challenging it's going to be. Okay, so if we need to, we can scoot in a little bit closer to the wall. The knees are going to come into tabletop, and then they're going to go straight up to the ceiling. My hands are all the way behind my head, supporting that neck, supporting that head. We inhale as we lower the legs all the way down to that wall. For 3, 2, 1. Exhale, they hit that wall. You exhale to lift. You lower, 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 and lift. We have 2 more. I'm going to lower them all the way down to the wall now to stay onto the wall. My hands are going to stay behind my head. I'm just allowing my elbows to stretch out to the sides really quick. I pick my elbows up. I slide the shoulders down my back. I curl up, look into the belly button. I now bring that left knee in towards me, and I twist over there towards that side, looking over my left shoulder blade. I send that leg straight. I come back to center with my upper body, twist over to the right and pull that opposite knee in. Over, exhale, twist. Now remember, as we're switching from side to side right here, I want us to think we're not kind of just leaning or rocking from side to side. We're coming up higher to switch, and to switch. 1 more time, over, and you rest all the way down. Your arms go up and over your head to the back of the room. Just stretch right there and hang out right there for a second. Now I'm going to need to move my mat up against this guy over here. For those of us at home, we'd be moving our mat up against the wall that we're against, okay? So you're just switching directions with your mat. I'm just going to move it back over here. Up against this hutch over here. All right, we are going to lie all the way flat down. Let's lie down on our right side first, so we're all on the same side. You're also going to take your block or your pillow or whatever it is that you have. You don't have to have one, but it's a little bit nicer if you do have one. If you don't have one, don't worry about it, okay? All right, we're going to lie all the way flat down on our right side. I want your upper body all the way up against this wall behind you, okay? So my hips are up against it, my shoulders, and my head, okay? This is where I'm gonna put the block down underneath my head. For me, this feels a little bit better, but I could also put my head down onto my bicep down here. You can also have your hand behind your head right here, or you can be propped all the way up, okay? So when we're propped all the way up, I just want you to make sure that your elbow's underneath your shoulder and we're lifted from down here, okay? So we're not sinking down right here. We stay lifted kind of in like a side plank position, okay? All right, I'm going to lie all the way down. It's a little bit nicer all the way flat down. It is harder the higher up we go, okay? So now my tailbone, my sits bones are all the way up against this hutch or the wall behind me, and I'm going to have my legs come straight out on a diagonal out in front of me, okay? Now, to start with, I want you to feel kind of this bottom side of your body down here. What's going to want to happen is that we kind of press and let that side all the way go, and we allow this side to kind of dip down into the mat like that. I want you to think about pulling this top hip or pulling your sits bones down the wall behind you, okay? So we stay pulled down that way. That should kind of allow a little space, and there might not actually be space on the mat, but you should kind of feel that side body, the bottom side, lifting off the mat, okay? So to start with, I do want you to just bend your knees again right here. Your feet can go up against the wall behind you right there, and we're just gonna start with some clams, okay? So we're just lifting that leg up, lowering down. So we're lifting the top knee up. You keep your bottom heel or your bottom ankle down on the mat as we're lifting and lowering. And now what this wall is doing for us back here is it is helping to stabilize where our hips are. It's not allowing our hips to move forward or back. But also while we do this, it's allowing, it's kind of keeping the range of motion right there and keeping us kind of honest with about where our hips are. So when we do this a lot of times, the hips want to go forward, they want to go back, okay? So we're just going to do a couple more. And we should really feel it starting to fire in that side glute up there. It's our glute medius. Good. Now you pause down there. And now I want you to do the opposite, okay? So I want you to internally rotate, and you're going to pick your shin bone and your ankle up, okay? So we're just working on, we're not working on what the knee is doing, so it doesn't matter how high or low we're lifting the leg. I want you just to feel your top body right here, or not your top body, your top leg, that femur bone, internally rotating kind of in its socket, then back down. And it should feel good. It should feel good for our body to get into that position because we don't do this very often. Okay, so we're just gonna do a couple more. Rotating in and out. One more time. In and out. Good. Now, both legs are going to go straight out on a diagonal in front of you. Now, my bottom foot is going to stay where it is, okay? So I want the toe and the heel side of our foot all the way down there on the mat, okay? So that's our standing leg if we would be doing this standing, okay? We're going to hover the top leg, and I want you to reach your top heel, that top left heel, further down and away from you, okay? Not enough to pull the hip forward like I'm doing right here, okay? But I want you to keep your top, both sides of the, your bottom up against the wall back there, okay? Now my top hand is going to go down in front of me onto the mat, maybe about 5 inches or so in front of my belly button. And I'm going to kick this top leg straight out in front of me, and it pulses twice. 1, 2. I'm going to kick it, but I'm not going to go to the back now. I'm just going to kick it back down there where that wall is. I don't have a wall down there, so I'm just going to kind of feel where that is. Then back to the front. You kick to the front twice. So you pulse, you kick it out to the front twice. 1, 2. Back. And 1, 2. Now I want you to keep feeling how, as we keep doing this, what is happening with our top leg, what is happening with our sits bone. I want you to try to keep that bottom up against the wall the entire time, okay? So when it goes out to the front, it's going to want to come forward with us also. You are not letting that happen. A couple more. Last time. And I want you to pause ankle over ankle now. Now again, check in again. Check in between each exercise so we're really reaching that hip bone down. You slightly externally rotate this leg now. Now that external rotation, again, when we do that, when we hear that, is going to want to mean that our top hip kind of leans back in space. Now we notice we can't really do that with the wall here. The wall, again, keeps us honest, okay? So we keep that hand down, slightly externally rotate the leg. You kick the leg up towards the ceiling, but it's on a diagonal out in front of you. So kick it up, point the toe, lower it for 3, 2, 1. Flex the foot, kick it up again, lower, 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 and lift. Lower, lower, lower. Exhale, kick the leg up, down, down, down. Last time. Now keep the leg down here. Now again, the leg is externally rotated. We're going into our Grand Battement, so we're going to kick the leg up to the ceiling, bend the top leg, connect the toe down with the top leg, extend the leg back up to the ceiling, then lower the foot back down. Okay, so I want you to do a couple of these slow, like how I'm doing them right now. So kick up, bend it, try to get that knee up towards the ceiling while keeping that hip all the way in line. So that wall is keeping our hip right there. Extend it back up to the ceiling. Lower the leg back down. Kick it up. Bend it. Straighten it. Lower it. Good. We're going to add another tempo on with that now. Okay, so I want you to kick it up. You bend it, straighten it. Lower it back down. Up. Bend, straighten. Lower down. Good. Up. Bend, straighten, lower, down. One more time. Up, bend, straighten, lower, down. Hold it there, and we're going to add up. We're going to go into our passes now, okay? So we kick the leg up to the ceiling, bend the top leg, draw the top leg across the bottom leg as we straighten it all the way down there, okay? So up to the ceiling, bend the knee, try to get that knee up there using that inner thigh, using that adductor. We try to keep the hips forward by way of that glute med back there and extend the leg straight. One more time this way. Up, bend, straighten it through. Are we still reaching that hip down? We reverse it now. We draw the leg up the body, extend it up to the ceiling, lower it down. Draw it up, extend, and lower. Good. Two more. Draw it up, extend, lower, one more time. Up, extend, lower. Good. Now keeping the top leg in parallel, we're going to point that top toe and start doing small circles of the leg. Small circles evenly to the front, evenly to the back. Keep relaxing that top shoulder down your back. Keep breathing. Reverse your circle. The faster we go for this, the more challenging it's going to be. But again, Pilates is about precision, okay? So I don't want us moving our whole body as we do this. The only thing moving in the body right now is our left leg, okay? Two more. Last one. Looks like my cat has a toy right now, a little bell that you saw walking into the image. You rest the top leg down. Good. Now we're going to do our inner thigh, lifts and then lowers. This leg is going to have two options, okay? So our nicer option is going to be just that our shin bone comes down in front of us onto the ground. So for those of us with hip issues, knee issues, we can always just do this, okay? And that's totally fine. If we want it to kind of get a little bit more challenging, we can plant that top foot down onto the mat with the hand all the way behind the ankle right here. Now my bottom leg is going to move in line with the wall, okay? So I want that back heel all the way up against the wall, okay? Now what's gonna wanna happen is that we lean kind of more into that top sits bone. And I do want you to make sure that we're kind of keeping both up against the wall, but we're not just kind of hammering the top hip back into it, okay? So just lightly up against the wall. Now we're lifting and then lowering your bottom leg. I want you to lift for 3 and lower for 3. Okay, so slowly going up, slowly going down. Good. A few more. When it lowers down, I don't want you to rest it all the way down there. It taps and it lifts back up. A couple more. Good. Last one. Good. You keep the leg up now. I want you to try to keep it up, and I want you to circle the leg now. You're going to do small little circles because ideally when we do these, we try to get further back and into that wall. So if your heel is scraping up against that wall back there, or brushing up against it, I don't want you to scrape your foot, but brushing up against it is good, okay? Now reverse the circle. And every time we're circling, I want you to try to keep lifting the leg higher. It doesn't rest down there towards the ground. You keep on circling it for 3, 2, last one. Now I want you to keep the leg lifted. Good, now your top leg meets your bottom leg. Both legs are going to go straight. Bring both legs forward. Good, keep them lifted still. Bend both knees in, then lower them back down. Okay, so our transition to go the other side is going to be a little bit different just because we're just going to move all the way. Head is going to go all the way down. Okay, so to start, we're going to just come up. We're actually going to go into our mermaid right here, okay? So our hips are going to be back up against the wall. If they can't reach all the way back towards the wall, that's totally fine, but I do want your shoulders to be able to be back against the wall up there, okay? So if you guys see me up against the, away from my wall over here, it's because I'm against a hutch and it has these little kind of pokey things back up against it, okay? I'm gonna move my block over to the other side. My arms are going to go out to the side. My right hand is gonna go all the way down onto that mat. My top arm is going to lift up, stretch over. Make sure that we're lifting this bottom side and we're not kind of allowing it to just go down against the mat. Exhale, up and over. Now, in order to come back up, I'm not going to just use this hand to allow me to come up. I want us to think it's our obliques, it's our abdominals. My shoulders have to stay back up against this wall back here, and it's really hard to get all the way up there without wanting to come forward. My hand is going to grab onto my ankle or my shin, and you reach up, counter, stretch over, okay? Now again, we're gonna wanna come forward right here. You stay up against it, and you stretch. Should feel really nice for that side body. Good. And again, all the way down. Good. Up and over, exhale, stretch. Good, back up again. Remember, pull up from those obliques versus just coming up with that hand. Stretch. And again, all the way down. One more time. All the way up and over. This time my right hand's gonna go behind my head. You rotate a little bit towards those shin bones. You round forward. Good, I'm gonna go through two transitions right here, okay? One of our classical transition is going to be that my hands come straight out over towards my knees or towards my shins. I'm going to tuck my toes under. I rainbow the hands over as I lift up onto my knees. I then sit down onto my other side in order to now lie down and do the other side, okay? We'll do that mermaid stretch again at the end, okay? The other option, if we don't want to do that, is we can just put our hands back up against that wall. You move your feet one right in front of you, then you move on to the other side, okay? So, again, situating ourselves all the way back down onto that mat. I have my yoga block, which as you can see, my cats love. So we're going to lie all the way flat down, back all the way up against our wall back there. Either our head down onto our bicep, we can have the hand behind the head, we can be propped all the way up onto our side, but again, just try to remember to really stay lifted. If we're in that side plank, really stay lifted the whole time, okay? And we can do all of this from that same position. Okay, I'm gonna go for my option with my yoga block down here. Good, I get myself situated up against the wall. Bottom is back up against it, shoulders are back up against it, head all the way kind of situated against it, okay? Now my legs are going to come forward on a diagonal. And remember the same thing we did on the other side. We're trying to think about really reaching that top leg further out and away the whole time. Okay, we're reaching through that right heel to go away on a diagonal. Okay, so Pilates is all about opposition. My opposition up here and my opposition going that way to kind of engage our core. But again, of course, we define the core as the front of the body, the back of the body, okay? So top arm down in front of us onto the mat, about 5 inches in front of the belly button. We begin by bending those knees. The feet are going to go up against the wall back there too. And I want you to be aware of where your hip is up here in space. It is not going to move now as we start clamming, lifting and then lowering. Good. Now a lot of times when we do clams, they can kind of get into like it feels really easy. These are super simple. We want to think about keeping the hip bone forward versus going back in space. So if we allow it to just go back in space, that's when it kind of becomes like that. Okay, so exhaling to lift and back down. On that lift, I want you to try to get a little bit higher every single time. A couple more. One more. Now the opposite, okay? We're going to lift the heel. You're internally rotating that thigh bone up there. Good. And then back down. Good. Now it should feel really good on this hip. So on our femur, rotating in and then back and down. Good, just a couple more times. And we just want to keep this range of motion. And back. Good, one more time. And down. Good. Top hand comes back down in front of us. The legs are going to go straight back there, down there on that diagonal. And again, we're hovering the top leg. It stays, we keep our pelvis all the way stacked on top, and we kick the leg out in front. It pulses twice. 1, 2, then to the back. It just hits that wall back there and back out in front. Now everyone's range of motion is going to be different, and everyone's kind of how this feels in their body is going to be a little bit different. Okay, so on this side, I can feel a little bit of a difference that I can't go back as far, and that's okay. Okay, so I don't want to move my hip forward in order to come back. It has to stay in alignment. The only thing moving in our body is that leg as we do this. One more time. And you pause and hover ankle over ankle. You slightly externally rotate that leg and it's going to kick up towards the ceiling on a diagonal as you point. Now flex the foot, it lowers 3, 2, 1. Kick it up, point it. Now create resistance in your body as you lower it down. So don't just allow gravity to pull that leg down there. Think about really kind of working through the air as we go down and as we pick back up. Now remember, my side is lifted down here. I'm not allowing my side to collapse down here into the mat. One more. And we're adding on our grand battement. So first, we kick the leg up to the ceiling. You bend it. You straighten it. You lower it. Again, back up. When I bend it, I try to get my knee up towards the ceiling by using that inner thigh. Use that adductor. Use those glutes to keep the hips forward. Up and back down. Now again, everyone's range of motion is going to be different right here. If the knee has to be this far forward, that is fine. If the knee is higher up to the ceiling because you have a little bit more externally rotated hips, that is a-okay too. Okay, so up, bend it, straighten it, back up. We're going to add that tempo in now. Okay, so up, bend, straighten, back down. We're using that hamstring. Up there, bend, straighten, and lower one more time. Up, down, up, and lower. Adding our passes in now. So you kick the leg up to the ceiling, bend the leg, straighten the leg, down the body. Make sure that we elongate that hip. Up, bend it, and straighten down the leg. Good. A couple more. Up, bend, straighten. And as we keep going, the gaze is going to sometimes kind of drifts down towards the feet. I want you to make sure that we're lifted. The gaze is lifted. You're looking up and kind of straight out or away in space even higher. Okay, we're reversing now that passe. Drive the leg up the body, extend it up to the ceiling, lower it down. Now really when we pick this leg up is when my side is going to want to go into the ground. You keep that side lifted. One more time. Extend, lower. Now stay in parallel with the leg and start circling the leg. Small little circles. Good. Now remember, we're making the circles even from the front and to the back, and you reverse. Back and around. Keep reaching that top hip bone down there. It's going to want to go so that we kind of allow it to melt into the mat right here with the side. 2 more. Last one. Good. Now remember our modifications on this side. We can just put the shin down in front of us on into the mat. That makes it a little bit nicer, especially if we have knee or hip issues. We can also put this block underneath the mat right here. That makes it a little bit nicer too. Otherwise, we plant the foot down onto the mat. The knee goes up towards the ceiling. It's kind of a nice stretch on the hip too. And then we align the bottom foot in line with the body up against the wall. Now we start by lifting and then lowering that bottom leg, okay? I have a little bit of a problem down there. I'm running into something, but it's okay. Up and then down. Good. A couple more times. Lifting, then lowering. Now make sure as we're lifting and lowering that bottom leg that we're not kind of rotating forward. We're staying in parallel to lift and lower. 2 more. Now we're lifting that leg up high down there. You keep it up high and you circle the leg now. Remember, I just want you doing small circles, small, tight circles. We have 2 more. Try to get that leg up as high as you can right here to use that inner thigh. We're using that bottom inner thigh. And now you reverse it. Two more. Last one. And you keep the bottom leg lifted. Top leg meets your bottom leg. Good. Have both legs lifted. Bend both knees in towards your chest. And lower them both back down to the mat. I want you to come all the way up to seated. We can reposition ourselves so that our bottom is all the way up against the mat now. Or sorry, up against the wall behind you. Ankles are ideally stacked. If that's a little bit tight, it's a little bit tight for me today to do that. We can just separate the ankles a little bit, okay? Now, our left hand, we're going to have them go out to a T, out to the side. My bottom left hand is going to go all the way down against the mat. Now remember, my back is all the way up against the wall behind me as we stretch up and over. Now remember, we're lifting this inside rib up towards the ceiling, that lowest rib in there. And stack all the way up tall using that belly. And I'm caught on this back here. There we go, good. Now you counter stretch up and over. Good. And again, all the way back down again. Remember, we're trying to reach taller than we're reaching up and over something imaginary right here as we go down. And as we breathe, exhale up. Now again, try to keep your shoulder blades, try to keep your whole back up against that wall as we lift, and we try to lift from those obliques. Good. All the way up and over. Remaining up against that wall the whole time. One more time. All the way down, up, and over, and back and up again. Stack back up tall. Put the hand actually behind the head now. Rotate towards the shins. Exhale, round forward. Stacking back up tall. I'm going to get rid of my little pillow. We don't need it anymore. We're going to move the mat now all the way back lengthwise against your wall. So remember, if this is your wall, you're just going to move the mat so that your feet are up against it. For me, I'm using 2 just so you guys can see a little bit better. I'm going to move my mat back up against this little column right there. So here we go. All right, we're going to start by sitting down up against our wall. And we're going to have our hands grab onto our ankles with our knees coming out wide. Okay, we're going to go into our open leg rocker right here. And we're going to be using the wall in a second to help us. Right now, no wall, okay? So hands are going to go onto the ankles. We can also have them go behind the thighs. That makes it a little bit nicer back behind the thighs. Hands onto the ankles. We're just going to extend that right leg up towards the ceiling. You lower it down. Left leg lifts and it lowers. Now we're back kind of behind our sits bones a little bit, back towards our tailbone. And again, when we're lifting up, we're trying to keep the leg framed within our body. It's not going to be really, really wide out to the side. Lowering and lifting. A couple more. Now remember, my shoulders are down away from my ears the whole time. We're going to lift the right leg up. You hold it there. That left leg lifts up. You hold it there. Good. Lower both legs down. Now I do want you to scoot a little bit closer to the wall because I do want your feet and your toes now going up against the wall. Okay, so we're just going to scoot in a tiny bit closer. I'm going to have my wall be this part that's further out away from me, not this part back here, just so you can see a visual at home. Okay, so we're extending that left leg up first now this time. The right leg is going to join it. Okay, now I'm a little bit too far away from the wall right here, so I'm going to scoot in a little bit closer. And now again, left leg up against the wall. Right leg joins it. So this is a little bit narrow for me at home. I want you to be a little bit wider. Good, now we're holding there. Now if anything, the hands can go behind the knees. That's totally fine. But now we're going to rock. So we're going to roll all the way back there to our shoulder blades. Then all the way back up again. And those feet tap up against the wall again. Okay, so here we go. Pull back, lift from the belly. Round back there. Exhale, we lift. Toes end up against the wall. Again, pick them up. Back. One more. My feet are now going to come together. My hands are going to come together into that teaser, and I'm just going to round all the way down to the mat. Good. I'm going to pull my right knee in towards my chest and give it a stretch in there. My hands are behind my thigh, not on top of my knee, to kind of pull that knee in a little bit. We don't want to do that. Now we're going to extend that right leg straight up to the ceiling, And it's going to be slightly externally rotated. My right sits bone is reaching down there towards the wall away from me. Now my hands stay behind my right thigh. I'm curling up, looking into my belly button, and I'm going to exhale to walk my hands all the way up my leg. Now you notice my left foot had to come up the wall a little bit as I came up. That's fine, okay? So we can move it up the wall. Now again, walking back down the leg. And back down. One more time. Climb the tree all the way up there, and I want you to stay all the way up there. Okay, now my left hand is going to come away out in front. My right hand is going to join it. I'm going to lower back down to the mat, keeping that right leg lifted. My hands lift up and overhead. You exhale as we lift all the way back up again and lowering back down. One more. Now stay up here. Keep that leg up there. If we need assistance, we can always bend the leg, but it stays straight. I want you to lower it, tap it down to the wall. Pick it back up again. We're doing that 2 more times. Lower the foot down, pick that left leg up, hands go back around the calf, and you walk all the way down your leg. Stretch the knee into your chest just to reset, and we keep the same sides even, and extend it back up to the ceiling. My leg again is slightly externally rotated. My hands are behind my left thigh. I'm curled up looking into my belly button, and I walk my hands all the way up the leg. Good, my foot again has to slide up that wall a little bit, and you walk back down. Now staying up here, my left hand is going to come away. My right hand joins it. I hold that leg there and I round down to the mat. Lift the arms up and overhead and back up to sitting. 3 times in total, so we're on number 2 right here. One more time. Now stay up there. Good. Now my hands are going to hold right behind that calf. Good, now lower and then lift that leg down and up. Now you'll notice on this side, I'm not getting as high, and so everyone's range of motion is going to be a little bit different. One more, pick that leg up, stretch it, lower it back down, arms out in front, and we round all the way down to the mat. Now both knees come all the way back into my chest. I'm just going to give them a nice stretch, nice hug in for a second. The legs are going to go all the way long. Fingertips up to the ceiling. Exhale to curl and round to lift all the way up. I am now going to move myself a little bit closer towards the wall on my mat just to make sure I have enough room to round back down there for seal. We're moving forward. Our hands come into prayer hands. We dive the hands between the feet. We wrap our feet up around the legs on the outside, and the hands end up onto the front of my feet. You're going to pull your knees up and in towards your chest. Your toes are together, your heels are apart. We're tapping our toes together 3 times. 1, 2, 3. You roll back to your shoulder blades and back up again. Tapping, back, and up. Now remember, my knees are framing my body. They're no wider than my body. Now on this last one, we're going to roll back there. You're going to unclasp your hands. You're going to cross your feet, and we're going to try to come all the way up to standing, okay? I'm going to scoot a little bit back away from this wall so I have enough range of motion to stand up, okay? So hands on top, tap, roll all the way back there, hands clasped. We come all the way up to standing, ta-da! We're now going to turn around and stand up against our wall, okay? I have some stuff up here that I can't stand all the way up against it all the way, but that's okay. Okay, so heels together, toes are apart. You're going to have your feet come maybe about 6 inches away from the wall behind you, okay? So I do want you to be able to keep your bottom, your shoulders, your head all the way up against the wall. Our arms are going to reach up to the ceiling. I want you to lower them down. They remain next to your sides. Now we're going to peel the spine away from the mat, kind of 1 vertebra at a time. Sorry, not from the mat, from the wall. So chin to chest, You begin rounding down towards the mat. I'm peeling my spine away. It's kind of like a reverse roll up. You're rounding down there towards the seat, towards the ground, and you pause. We're just going to circle our arms. And then I want you to reverse it. Now pause the circling, and we curl our tailbone under first. Our pelvis begins to stack up. The belly pulls up inside of you to round and lift all the way up. Good, and I want you to stay up. I want those arms out in front of you. I want you to move your feet into parallel. So heels, or ankles, knees, sits bones, again, all stay in line. The fingertips come straight out in front of you. You lift your right arm up to the ceiling, the left arm goes down. Good, then we just switch sides. Keep breathing, inhaling, exhaling, long, deep breath in. Long, full and complete exhale all the way out. Keep the knees soft so that we're not locking out into the backs of them. I want you to feel your shoulder blades up against the wall right here, and I want you to feel what they're doing. They're trying to stay stationary down there as we are moving our arm bones, okay? So we want to be able to move our arms without moving our shoulder blades right here, okay? Now the other thing with our ribs, we keep the ribs flush down with the body as we're doing this. One more time. You lower both hands now all the way down to your sides. You just walk your feet up against the wall now. And I hope everyone has a wonderful day. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Bye.